up, guys? Holyknight with you, bringing you Black Clover 162 review, titled Lightning of Rage versus Friends. This chapter was the continuation of the battle chapter from last week, but now Asta stepped in, so it was pretty interesting. And I have to say, I'm very, very surprised that Asta was somewhat able to hold his own against this guy in his Lightning of Rage. Not to mention the fact that Vanessa and Magna was actually able to continue fighting and actually help them win, which was very interesting. In the beginning of the fight, you had him, Luck, the elf version, in blitz mode, trying to blitz Asta and stuff in the beginning of the fight of the chapter. And it's weird because it was like he was expecting Asta not to be able to keep up, because he has no mana, he's human. And you know how they downplay the humans in the chapter, in the series. But Asta was actually able to keep up with his movements. And Asta explained why. His excuse was because you're in rage, your attacks are simple, and your patterns are easy to read. But at the same time, you have to remember, he also said that his sword was able to sense his magic as well, because he's fighting with a new sword. He's not using his other two. He'll be using one sword this whole time for the battle. And it's funny because at the same time, we have to also remember Asta's good with Kai. So that was pretty good too. Seeing that, I wasn't really expecting him to I wasn't really expecting Asta to do much. I'm not saying that he's weak, because we know he's not. But just the way this chapter was, it was like I was expecting this fight to probably last 2-3 chapters, but so far the way it ended seemingly looks like he ended the fight in, shortly. He ended the fight in one hit, really. But thanks to the Vanessa and Magna's help. But that's what really, I liked the fact that in the end of the fight, you had Vanessa with her strings of fate, which is her magic. She had wrapped that up on Asta's feet to like a slingshot, and then you had Magni come in with a fireball to put flames on it, which shot him forward real quick, and he was able to catch Luck by surprise and hit him in the head with a sword. But I've been reading a lot of comments and tweets and stuff about this chapter, and I know a lot of people are hating on it, saying that the Nakama power-up is too strong in this series. It's becoming a Fairy Tail 2.0. They're ripping off of Fairy Tail and Bleach and all the other negative stuff. And it was like, I'm not going to get into the Fairy Tail bits because my first YouTube was on Fairy Tail. And there is a reason why they do the Fairy Tail power-up Nakama stuff in Fairy Tail. But that's a whole nother video, and just watch that video on your own time. But it was very excusable why they was able to beat him. I mean, besides the fact that it was 3 against 1, or 3 against 2, I guess you can say, gotta remember, Asta's magic is not just anti-magic, it does also more damage to you. Because remember, you need magic to defend against magic. But if you have no magic to defend against anti-magic, it's just gonna hurt more. It's like getting hit with a sword and you have no armor on. You're taking the full brunt of the force. And Asta, as we know, is physically very strong. He's probably physically stronger than most of the knights in his kingdom. Not including probably the Wizard King and Yami, but mostly physically stronger than everybody else that's probably there. Because that's all he does is physical training, because he has no magic. But yeah, I know a lot of people are going to hate on the chapter because of that. Just because, they kept on mentioning friendship, and, the friendship trope that they used in anime. Fairy Tail didn't start it. Did they overdrag it the most? Yeah, I would probably have to agree with that. But they're not the only manga / anime that ever do that. I mean, we've seen it in Naruto plenty of times. We've seen it in Bleach. We've seen it in older series like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, Tenshin Muga, Yu Yu Hakusho, Hunter x Hunter. It's just the way it's done in certain mangas are better than others, but it's a very basic trope. And it's not really a bad trope either, because you have to remember, all these shows are Shaolin shows and they're meant for kids. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with boys or older people or girls watching it or whatever, but the main demographic that they are trying to attract are younger boys. So they're gonna have things like fan service, friendship stuff, hero stuff, the things that little kids, especially boys, find cool. So the friendship power up thing, you're gonna see that a lot in a lot of different shonen type mangas, whether it's Shonen Jump or Kote Show, whatever. It's something basic, so people hate on it, but it's a basic trope that's always been around. It's meant for the kids, and it's gonna be around. So, but yeah, it was a very short chapter, but sweet. But again, I wasn't expecting Magna or Vanessa to, help Asta win this fight, because it looked like they were beat up and tired in the last chapter. But again, gotta give props to where it's due. They was actually able to do pretty good, and thanks to them, Asta was able to win against Luck. And I'm hoping that Asta's transformation, that he gets more like levels to it, because I always liked the transformation, but he needs to increase it and make it stronger, because his time limit on it is very, very short, and it's like he needs to fix that. He needs to make it so it could be long lasting, so it could last him longer in battle, especially when he's fighting people at captain level or lieutenant or higher. He's gonna need something like that. He needs to pull like a Luffy from One Piece. He needs to have multiple versions of that transformation that he can probably pull in different stunts for a long period of time to help him out, since he doesn't have magic, which is weird because he doesn't have magic, but that transformation looks like it's made of dark magic, so it's kind of weird. But on the other hand, he does have those demonic swords, so maybe that's where it's coming from. But yeah, Asta got that transformation, 3 swords now. Can't wait to see how he develops more. Same with But tell me what you thought of this fight. Did you like the knockout power up, which made sense, or did you think no, it doesn't make sense, or what's your opinion on it? Tell me what's the next fight you would like to see, and hopefully we get that Yami versus Lelouch fight, or Yami versus one of the second tier people that are there. Either or. Can't wait to see Yami go ham, because he's upset now that the king died in his arms, so, which none of the people still know about that. So yeah, but yeah, the chapter was very interesting. Short as always, but because these pages are only like 15-20 pages. Not to mention if you take away the cover pages, and then the Divine Art pages is like sometimes shorter. But it was interesting nonetheless. But yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe, and tell me your thoughts and your opinions, and see you in the next one. Holyknight, signing out.